Alright, how's it going guys? I hope you're all doing well as usual. Back today with another video, and this time I'm going back to my existing CD collection. So just continuing down the alphabet as usual. Come to think of it, I can't remember what I think last time when I was talking about my existing CD collection, I was in the letter L, is that right? No, sorry, I had got up to M, so I was doing Malignancy and Malevolent Creation. They were the last bands I spoke about. So today we are up to the letter M, and the band I'm going to start with today, it's just one band and 3 albums. The band needs no introduction, but I will give one anyway. It is the legendary band MANOWAR. So American heavy metal band, famous of course for the sign of the hammer. And where to start? Like, I'll just give you a brief history if you're not familiar, but sort of considered a legendary band in heavy metal circles, generally speaking. They're a band from New York, which have been around since the early 80s, I think. Like, the first album came out in 1981, I believe, but they may have been around since the late 70s. So, New York-based band, and basically the way you can sum them up, as original guitarist Ross the Boss said in Sam Dunn's Power Metal documentary, he said, "MANOWAR, we wanted to be one step beyond Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and beyond the Black Leather in Chains. In MANOWAR, everything was bigger." So that's the words of guitarist Ross the Boss. That's a good description, but at the same time, I think I need to say a bit more about it, because they weren't just a typical heavy metal band, even though Ross was kind of saying that. They really had their own unique sound, had and have. Like one journalist said in the same documentary, he said, "MANOWAR is MANOWAR, man. Like, they have their own sound. Like, it is really true. They sound like no other band. They're truly unique." So that's what I like about it. I think it's hard within this genre, you know, to really stand out as different, but they always have ever since the early 80s. I mean, I think they've inspired a lot of bands, but you can immediately tell the sound of MANOWAR when you hear them, especially with Eric Adams' vocals and everything like that. But yes, absolutely brilliant band, and because they are unique, they call themselves true metal. And I think a friend of mine was telling me this. He said something like, they only consider themselves to be the only true heavy metal band. So that's kind of a smart selling point to say, oh yeah, there's a lot of bands who say they're heavy metal, but we're the only true ones. I don't know if that's true or not, like as in a factual statement, but that's just what I heard anyway. But yes, a good way to describe their music, as one journalist excellently put it, and that's a journalist from Rock Hard magazine, a German guy, as he brilliantly and famously stated in Sam Dunn's Power Metal documentary, MANOWAR in a nutshell, you can say it's Conan the Barbarian combined with the drama of Rainbow, the pure heavy metal of Iron Maiden, and the outcome is MANOWAR. So that basically sums it up, you know, conceptually and musically. But then again, they also sound different to Iron Maiden. So really, if you've never heard MANOWAR, you just have to go and listen to them to understand that they have a truly unique sound. Okay, so talking a little bit more, their main themes circle around war and, you know, like both ancient and modern. So sort of like in that sort of epic medieval or Conan the Barbarian context, but also talking about modern warfare. Like, there's a lot of references to the Vietnam War in certain albums, which we'll get into. And it's also, they talk a lot about just devotion to the concept of heavy metal, which any metal fan can relate to. So that's why they call themselves true metal. And I think it's also important to say, I really like their lyrics. Like, some of the lyrics are a bit controversial, maybe, because it's sort of that Conan the Barbarian caveman approach where, you know, it's all like, they have that attitude like women are the plunder of war. But I think it's only going along with the theme. But all that aside, I think that's just running with the theme. But I find a lot of their lyrics to be a source of inspiration, you know, so it's sort of like, it's their devotion to the heavy metal cause, but their lyrics are very helpful and inspirational in the sense it's all about like standing tall in the face of adversity, sticking to your guns, to be the best you can be, and being independent, not worrying what other people think, going your own way. So it really can be a source of inspiration and strength, at least in my opinion. And we'll get into certain songs which talk about that. Yeah, so yeah, I know a lot of people mock the concept and the image of MANOWAR, for example, Metallica, but hey, at least MANOWAR never released an album as shitty as St. Anger. But yeah, so it's not for everyone, but it's that really epic, sort of fantasy-oriented type of approach, and I think as a result of that, that's why they inspired so many power metal bands. Are MANOWAR power metal? I think they're at least a foundation of it, but anyway, I've been rambling on for 5 minutes, but I did need to give an introduction to this band because I just don't want to go straight into the albums. But yeah, for a lot of people, MANOWAR is a religion. You know, they call them the Manowar Warriors. For me, if I'm being completely honest with you, I find MANOWAR to be a bit hit and miss. So what I mean by that is I don't enjoy all of their albums. They haven't really released terrible albums exactly, but there's just some stuff that I don't get into or I don't find that exciting. So as a result, believe it or not, I don't own the whole collection of MANOWAR. This is going to shock some people. I only own 3 albums, but I think they're all brilliant. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So 3 albums, and these are all from the 80s. So I've had a long, epic 5-minute intro. So let's just get into the albums, shall we? So 3 albums to talk about today. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the band's debut album. This is MANOWAR with Battle Hymns, and I believe it came out 82? Yeah, so around, so very early 80s. But this is, just in a nutshell, this is my favorite MANOWAR album of them all, because this is just raw, epic, doom-tinged heavy metal, and it has a really sort of raw, rocking vibe to it. In terms of like, the production is very raw. Eric Adams' vocals are just, I don't like, not screechy, they're melodic, but he really bursts out these high-pitched sort of wails, which sound absolutely fantastic. But again, this sounds unique. It's not typical run-of-the-mill heavy metal. So really epic album, and I like all of the songs. This album has a lot of references to the Vietnam War. So like, for example, in the song Death Tone, he's talking, I think he's like a Vietnam vet, you know, talking about his current life. The lyrics are really funny in that song, like not in reference to the war, but about, you know, like, put my shades on, hair flows in the wind, I give some square the finger, now he won't look again. You know, so it's really good. But like that actual song, it starts off so weirdly, just the rhythm and the bass and the drums, it's not typical heavy metal at all, but a really catchy song. Then we go into track 2, Metal Days. Such a fantastic heavy metal anthem, like pump your fists, sing along, arena heavy metal anthem, and like you can just really sing your heart out to the chorus. And the lyrics again are a bit cheesy, but MANOWAR's never been shy of that. It's all about this complete devotion to heavy metal and passion for it, so I really like that song. Fast Taker, excellent song, like really fast and upbeat, and that's where I think Eric Adams' vocals really shine on that. By the way, this album, the lineup is Eric Adams on vocals, band leader Joey DeMeo on bass, Ross the Boss on guitar, and Scott Columbus on drums. Then Shell Shock, so that's another song talking about the Vietnam War. But again, like the lyrics are absolutely amazing, and the way Eric sings them, absolutely fantastic. MANOWAR is a really fun song as well. And then we have Dark Avenger, which is truly epic. You know, when I mentioned previously that this is doom-tinged heavy metal, that's where you see that really sort of epic, fantasy-oriented element entering their music. And they even have a narrated passage by, who was it? I should have checked this before. Was it? I was going to say H.G. Wells. I can't remember. No, he wrote War of the Worlds, didn't he? But anyway, a famous author or something narrates a part in Dark Avenger, and they're just brilliant lyrics. You know, when they talk about they brought upon this stallion called the Black Death, a grim steed, so black in color, so noble in might, and you know, so there's these really epic medieval lyrics which I absolutely love. And then William's Tale, I believe, is a bass solo from Joey DeMeo, and he really shows off his bass skills. Like he plays 4 and 8 string bass, and he is very adept at it. So that's really good. And then the album concludes with Battle Hymn, which is again truly epic. They have some choral vocals in that, you know, where the part where it says victory, victory, and then, you know, they're singing along. But this is just truly epic. And like I said, it's a bit doom laden because there's some slow parts, but they have fast songs as well. But it's just very catchy and a truly fun album. And I also like the fact that the lyrics make it so memorable, as do Eric Adams' vocals. So absolutely brilliant album. As you can tell, I went through all 8 tracks there, and I don't dislike any of them. This album is absolutely perfect. So just spoiler alert, this is my favorite MANOWAR album, an absolute classic. Very cool, iconic cover art and logo as well. So we have that. And then just, this is like very bare bones in the 80s, just song titles and credits. And then that's a pretty cool image, very Conan the Barbarian-esque. So yeah, a lot of people say these, you know, Manowar's lyrics are very sort of manly and macho and testosterone charged. But of course, because Conan the Barbarian was, and that's what it's modeled on. So yeah, just plain disc there. But absolute classic album, no bad songs. The debut, MANOWAR with battle hymns. Check it out if you haven't. All right, so now we're skipping a few albums because like I said, I don't own all of them. But now we're jumping ahead a few years to the next album I own, which is MANOWAR with Fighting the World. So battle hymns came out in 82. There were a couple of albums in the interim. And then this one came out in 87. I just love this album, but it's so different to battle hymns at the same time. As opposed to the first album, which is very sort of raw, this one is anthemic, polished 80s heavy metal, which is built for arena audiences. You know, those like really sing-along, fist-pumping choruses, and they often have, in the actual chorus, you know, you hear like the whole band singing, so it's got that real sort of crowd chant element to it, but absolutely fantastic. Like, because of the polished production, the drums and the bass, everything sounds really heavy. And again, just some really fun anthemic songs to sing along to, like Fighting the World. You know, again, like I'm talking about the inspirational lyrics, you know, like just standing up for yourself and what you believe in. So it is inspirational and it's a very catchy tune as well. And then Blow Your Speakers. This is different because they've got a sort of modern take. Like it starts with, I wrote a letter to the MTV, what's going on? Did you forget about me? So it's sort of like talking about how their underground status in that era of, you know, very famous commercial hard rock and everything. But it's a great song as well. You know, like We All Wanted Rock and Roll and Blow Your Speakers, again with that like that group chorus, which is really catchy. Carry On, like this is where the band, you know, strays into somewhat sort of epic, cheesy territory, but not in a bad way. It's a very inspirational song, you know, so like Carry On, Continue, Fight Along. And yeah, when I first heard this song, I thought the chorus was really cheesy, but then I thought, why is it that I can't stop singing along to it? It's because it's so catchy. And then it actually, so it starts off like as a slow sort of ballad, but then it speeds up and becomes a heavy metal track, which is really cool. And Violence and Bloodshed, that gets really fast. I just love that. Eric's vocals are awesome. And you like when he says, "Are you ready?" and Violence and Bloodshed, it just gets you pumped up. So a really good song as well. Defender. Oh my God, that song just reaches epic proportions, you know, with the like absolutely thunderous, clattery drums, and then, you know, like those inspirational vocal melodies and lyrics, you know, like Ride Like the Wind, Fight Proud, My Son. It's so cool. It makes you picture being in that Conan the Barbarian world. And again, it's that group chorus, which is really cool. Then Drums of Doom, heavy drum track by Scott Columbus. And by the way, this is the same lineup on this album. And then, Holy War. The song Holy War gives me the chills, like literally the hairs on my arms stand on end, because the vocal melodies when Eric says holy, holy war, like it sounds like nothing when I say it, and I'm not going to sing, but when you hear him sing it, it's just so incredibly dark and atmospheric, but in a really powerful way. So I just love that as well. And then what else? Yeah, Master of Revenge is a very good one as well. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, like in Defender, in addition to the like big anthemic chorus, they have these like really powerful narrated vocals, and that also appears on Master of Revenge. And then another favorite track of mine on this album is the concluding track, Black Wind, Fire and Steel. You know, just so incredibly fast, and like brilliant vocals from Eric, and like the bass playing from Joey DeMeo is absolutely insane, really fast. So again, just like Battle Hymns, I haven't named my favorite tracks because literally all of them are pretty much my favorites. But yeah, like the ones that I really love on this, if I have to say like my absolute top favorites, would be Violence and Bloodshed, Defender, Holy War, Black Wind, Fire and Steel, but all of them are really good. So here you have the band here, so looking very, you know, macho and strong. It's cool, and one of them is doing this Sign of the Hammer. Yep, I've also got this one on vinyl, so I'm really happy about that. It sounds awesome on vinyl, especially with that very heavy drum sound. This one is actually a Chinese bootleg, which I bought in Thailand, so that's why the color looks a bit weird on this. And then it's got a blurb on the back. And all of the lyrics here. But again, because Eric Adams sings so clearly, it's not like death metal or something. You can actually understand what he's saying. But it is nice to have those lyrics. And there's the bootlegged looking disc. And I think this quote on the back, it's something, death to false metal, fighting the world. Yeah, so, that was one of their catchphrases as well. But yeah, so unlike the first album, Battle Hymns, which was very sort of raw, hard rock oriented, doom-laden heavy metal, this is more polished 80s heavy metal built for arenas, but it's fucking awesome as well. So MANOWAR with Fighting the World. All right. Wow, we're 15 minutes in, so my intro took 5 minutes, but like I said, I needed to give some context about this band because they're not just any heavy metal band. And the last album I'm going to talk about today is the last one from the 80s. This is MANOWAR with Kings of Metal, which some say was the last great MANOWAR album. I'm not sure about that because I haven't heard a lot of MANOWAR albums, so tell me, what do you think about this particular album? I'll tell you what I think as well. Like, this one I bought very early when I came overseas, and then this one shortly after. So like, this band is also very nostalgic for me, like in terms of when I first moved overseas, and like remember settling in. Like, it was just the soundtrack to my life at a point, especially this album. And again, this one has a different sound. This one is very sort of bombastic, epic power metal with a lot of grandeur and majesty. So when I say that, the songs, there are fast songs on this, but there are a lot of slow anthemic ballads, and not like wimpy ballads, but more sort of just like epic and reflective. And that's interesting as far as I'm concerned. Being completely honest with you, about half of the album consists of those kinds of songs, those sort of like slow epic ballads. So initially I didn't like this album all that much because I used to say, oh, there are too many slow songs and ballads, but I've grown to really like a lot of those. And like I said, there is variety because they have a lot of fast, aggressive songs too. So absolutely brilliant album. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, but I do understand if some people say too many ballads, but we'll get into that. So the first 4 tracks are all something of something in the title. So we have Wheels of Fire, Kings of Metal, Heart of Steel, Sting of the Bumblebee. So I thought that was cool. Everything is of for the first 4 tracks. But Wheels of Fire, the opening track, absolutely awesome. Blistering, scorching track, which is so full of energy. The vocals are just so powerful and piercing. And there's a lot of twists and turns in that song where it's just like very energetic and exciting. So really like that. And Eric Adams' vocals are just screeching in that. It's awesome. Kings of Metal is another epic, like pump your fist, epic heavy metal anthem, with a shouted chorus. So it's designed for, large crowds, like other bands play MANOWAR Kill. And again, that's just all about devotion to heavy metal. So some may say it's cheesy, but it's incredibly catchy. And I just love that song. So then track 3, Heart of Steel, that's the first sort of epic ballad on the album, containing a lot of pianos, but again, it's a very inspirational song because it's talking about standing up for what you believe in and fighting it, like stand and fight, say what you feel, born with a heart of steel. It may sound cheesy, but I find that really inspirational. And also, there's a lot of symbolic meaning in the lyrics. For example, like, burn the bridge behind you, leave nothing left, there's only one way home. That could have meaning in several contexts. So like, don't look back, just keep moving forward. Don't dwell on the past, don't dwell on negative experiences. Maybe that's my interpretation of it anyway. So like, it could be applied to a series of contexts, but really good song. And then this was the first album, I should say, where they employed a choir to sing on it. So I think it was like a German choir, because I did see the documentary where they were filming this and Joey DeMayo's conducting them. But like in the chorus of Heart of Steel, they have the Germanic choir. Then also like track 4, Sting of the Bumblebee, that's a blistering instrumental, again showcasing Joey DeMayo's excellent bass playing skills. Now track 5, The Crown and the Ring, Lament of the Kings, that's a song which I initially found quite depressing. Again, it's like a sort of slow epic ballad, but they used church pipe organs in that, and it's all about preparing to go to battle and knowing that you may possibly die. Like, the lyrics are just so incredibly epic, and it really sets the atmosphere. Like, saddle my horse as I drink my last ale. Like, again, some people would say, oh, it's so corny, but that's what's so cool about it as far as I'm concerned. So I really like that. And that has an absolutely epic choral chorus with the German choir singing along with that. And like I said, in the documentary, you see Joey DeMayo conducting them with so much passion. It's just awesome. So really like that song. Track 5 is Kingdom Come. I used to think this was a song which was kind of filler, like it's just a bit boring. Like it's kind of a mid-paced track, it's not a ballad, but the guitar riff is pretty cool. Having said that it was kind of fillerish, I have to admit whenever it's playing the chorus, I always sing along because it's incredibly catchy. You know, like, again, I'm not going to pollute your ears with my terrible singing voice, but just listen to the chorus of that, you'll know what I mean. Now, okay, then we get to Pleasure Slave. Controversial track. Musically, this song is very good, but it is a song which I don't like lyrically, okay? Because the reason is, it's very degrading to women. Like, basically, the lyrics are saying, like, women are the plunder and the spoils of war, and it's their just duty to be slaves and serve men and pleasure men. And I don't think the band was serious about it, but I think it's sort of like, it sort of suits that image of Conan the Barbarian, because in the movie he was like that. It was a barbaric world. But like, so I don't think they're particularly serious, except the lyrics are a bit sexist, maybe even misogynistic, but I think they were doing that deliberately to be provocative. But in any case, I don't endorse those lyrics. And, you know, some people might want to call me, you know, politically correct or, you know, sensitive or something like that. But sorry, I just don't buy into those lyrics. But as bad as it sounds, you know, because the music is so catchy, the chorus is very easy to sing along to. I won't say the words of the chorus, but you know what it is. But like, it's like, I don't take the lyrics seriously in that song. It's just thematic. But yeah, so that's like a lyrically controversial song. Then you have Hail and Kill, absolutely epic galloping heavy metal track with, again, that sort of shouty group chorus, vocals based chorus, which is absolutely fantastic. Again, great lyrics in that song, but again, some are a bit sexist because it's talking about the realities of the brutality of war. So again, some sort of misogynistic references to women in that song. You know the line if you know. So I don't really like that, but again, it's just like, it's setting the tone for medieval battle and how battle was in those times. And then we've got The Warrior's Prayer, which is a really cool track. It's like this little English boy asking his grandfather to tell him a story. So he starts telling him a story about the metal warriors, and it starts off very softly, talking about these, you know, people preparing for battle and riding from four corners of the lands to meet at this point. But as the track builds up, the grandfather, he just gets more and more passionate, and then he starts shouting and like getting really into it, and it becomes really, you know, it echoes. So I just absolutely love that. It's just like, and then at the end, the boy asks his grandfather, who were these four people? And he says, they were the Metal Kings. And like, again, corny, but so good. And then the last track, Blood of the Kings, absolutely fantastic track. That's sort of like a tribute to all MANOWAR fans around the world. You know, so they make references to all of the countries and good rhyming couplets, but like the lyrics in that song are so memorable, and there's some parts that you really want to sing along to, like, you know, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Italy. Like, it's like you go, oh, I know this part's coming, and sing along to it. And then again, they have those Germanic choral vocals in it. So absolutely brilliant song. So like I said, I used to think there were too many ballads on this, but I've grown to like most of them. Just the crown and the ring, that's a bit sort of like a liturgy or something. So it's a bit sort of funerary and depressing, but in an atmospheric way. So probably my favorite tracks on this album would be Wheels of Fire, Kings of Metal, Heart of Steel, Hail and Kill, and Blood of the Kings. But yeah, so mostly the fast tracks, but all of the other tracks are good as well. So awesome cover here, like again, very heroic. So with the warrior holding the US flags, that's where they're from. Track titles on the back, and all of the lyrics here, which you don't really need because they're clear as day. Cool logo by the band, of course. Yeah. And again, just a plain looking disc. So yeah, there we have it. Don't let people tell you otherwise. This is a really good album, but I understand if you may not like the whole thing, but absolutely worth checking out. So that's MANOWAR with Kings of Metal. So there you have it, guys. They are the 3 MANOWAR albums I own. So like I said, I like them all, and I won't repeat myself, but stylistically and in terms of production, they all sound a little bit different. yet with that same common thread of MANOWAR running through them. So great, absolutely great stuff. And like I said, this is a totally unique band, and I absolutely love these albums. So now is where I would like to hear from you. Like I said, I haven't heard a lot of MANOWAR albums, and I know that I'm sure there are a lot of other good ones out there. So tell me, what are your favorite MANOWAR albums? What are some albums by them that you would recommend to me? Because I'm keen to check them out. Some of you may ask, why haven't you checked them out yet? And it's like, you know how it is, so many bands, so little time, especially with all the different genres, you can't check out everything. And like I said, I've heard some MANOWAR where I didn't really like it that much, so I don't really know where to start with the other albums, so I'd like to hear from you. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and my takes on this particular band, which I think is just unique and completely original for heavy metal. To this day, they were back then and they are now, and I just think they have a unique sound and context. So don't be fooled by, you know, Metallica laughing at them. I mean, you know, they don't exactly have a perfect musical career either. So there you go. But anyway, enough rambling. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot for your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.